I've personally generated hundreds of mortgage leads every single month for my clients, leads that not only turn into more deals, but also help them get more business back from their existing referral partners. I specialize in helping mortgage loan officers generate consistent, exclusive buyer leads through meta ads, but actually optimize those leads so you could get more business back and use them to leverage to grow your agent relationships. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the 4 tactics that make meta ads actually work for mortgage loan officers and how you can use them to flip the power dynamic in your favor. The goal is simple. Instead of chasing agents, you'll be the one providing them value, and then that's how you can actually take control of your pipeline. So if you're a mortgage loan officer, you already know the foundation of this business. It's always been agent relationships, and that will never change. The way you build a long-term sustainable mortgage business is by building strong relationships with agents and having them consistently send you deals. But the reality is the power dynamic has shifted. Zillow is moving closer and closer to using their own loan officers. The big platforms that used to be great, even if expensive lead sources, are now moving away from helping loan officers and are focusing more on agents because it's more lucrative for them to use their own LOs. Without your own lead source, you're always negotiating from weakness. Meta ads, on the other hand, can put the power dynamic back in your hands. Here's the key differences. Because these are your campaigns, you're not at the mercy of some platform deciding what leads you get and when. As long as you continue to optimize your ads on Meta, there always is going to be consistent lead flow because you're in control of it. But not in the way most people think. See, the mistake that most LOs make is they judge the Meta ads directly by how many closings do I directly get from these leads. And when these leads aren't perfect, they write it off as bad leads, and that's the wrong frame. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 4 tactics that actually make meta ads work for you as a mortgage LO. As we mentioned, the first tactic is all about control. You already know platforms are shifting against you, so the real question is, what do you do about it? The answer to that question is building your own pipeline. When you have a steady flow of leads coming in, you stop depending on agents to decide if they'll send you their business or not. You're the one bringing them opportunities, and that is where the real power is in meta ads. They're not just about closing loans directly. Now, let me set expectations. Up front, social media leads are not the same as referrals. They'll never be as instantly warm, but they're still opportunities. And when you can generate them consistently, you gain the leverage. This is where most marketing agencies kind of blow it. They slap together an ad copy and think that it sounds good, or worse, they'll copy it from the meta ads library off of someone else's meta ads, and they don't even know what stage of awareness that ad is actually in. Your ad copy has to match the buyer to where they're at in the home buying process. That's why the ads that I run for my clients hit a little bit differently, because we engineer everything, the copy, the ad creative, the targeting, around the awareness levels. Maybe it's showing them that talking to a loan officer isn't as intimidating as they thought, or helping them see how much home they can afford. But someone that's further along in the home buying process, the message changes completely. At that stage, it's about removing friction, maybe addressing how stressful the process can be when you work with the wrong people, or positioning yourself as the person that can make it smooth and simple. Both buyers are aiming for the same goal, owning a home, but the pain points and the wording are completely different. And that's where if you mix that up, the ad falls apart. So that is why when we run campaigns for our clients, they don't just sort of work. They hit consistently because we're not guessing on the ad copy. We're structuring every word and every headline for the exact stage of the home buyer's journey. And let me address this now because I hear this all the time. A lot of you loan officers have been burned by marketing agencies running meta ads specifically. I've talked to so many LOs who were told because of the housing selection, right? The special ads category is selected, you can't disqualify leads. That's simply just not true. Yes, you do have to run ads under the special ads category, but there are still compliant ways to guide Meta's algorithm to learn who to put your ads in front of. The problem is that literally no other marketing agency is doing this right now, or they don't even care to. They set up quick campaigns to pump in low quality leads, a bunch of volume, but nothing you can really work with. And they disappear after a month when you're frustrated and have spent a bunch of upfront money. That is not how I work. My goal is to build long-term relationships the same way you're trying to build long-term relationships with your agents. I want to do the same with the loan officers that I work with. So I'm not here to run a 1-month scam. I want to actually set up a system that actually works to generate high quality leads to support your mortgage business over the long term. And this is why even before I ever close anyone, I set proper expectations up front so you know what it actually is like running meta ads. Let's move into the second tactic, which is using leads to get new partners. We already have the lead flow. Now, how do we leverage this to get more agent relationships? How do you actually put that into place? The biggest producers in the market, the whales, already have preferred LOs they use. They are already getting called by every single loan officer in town. So how do you actually stand out and how do you actually break into their inner circle? First, let me tell you how you don't do it. You don't do it by sending another classic, let's go grab coffee text. That's literally just another time suck for them and not helping them move the needle forward. So let me start by saying that grabbing coffee is not a bad tactic, but let's reframe that and make it actually valuable to them. So here's the strategy. You want to scrape a list off of Reddit of some of the top agents in your local area, and then you're going to cold call all of them. So you're still going to put in the work, the normal work that you have to do as an LO. Just now your script is going to be a little bit different. And now you're going to say, hey, I've got so many leads right now, I can't even handle them all. Let's go grab coffee and call through some of them together. That meeting is then no longer a time waster. You're actually giving them something they want, business. And once you're sitting down with them and actually calling through the leads, you created an opening to build the actual relationship. That is then the point where you start building that rapport and your personality shines. You find common ground, golf, pickleball, whatever it is. And then that common ground then leads into the second meetup. But the key here is that the relationship is now starting to form and you're doing it with better agents. But here's the key, and most of you guys already know this, but I still gotta say it. Volume negates luck. You don't just meet one agent, the relationship didn't really click, and then you give up. You repeat this process with a bunch of agents. Some won't turn into long-term relationships. That's just a reality. But the more reps you put in, the more genuine connections you're gonna have, and you're gonna build over time. Those then compound into strong referral partnerships that then fuel your pipeline down the road. This is the whole key concept of actually being a mortgage loan officer. All the top LOs that are producing right now have already done this in the past. This system that we're talking about right now is a system that I personally worked with some mortgage LOs on before I ever offered it to anyone else. This does not happen overnight. It happens because you put in the work now to build those relationships one by one with consistency. Thomas is a perfect example, and he's one of my mortgage loan clients. So he has an LO underneath him, Anthony. Anthony used this same exact system, cold calling agents, using the leads as leverage and meeting up with them in person. And over time, stacking more and more referral partnerships under his belt. And that is how you actually play the long game. The meta leads give you a tool, but the real win is turning those conversations into agent relationships that compound over the years. Now, the third tactic is all about strengthening the partnerships that you already have. Every LO has a core group of agents, the ones that send you deal after deal, because the relationship you've built over time. Maybe you started in the business around the same time, or maybe you've simply just closed so many deals together that they already naturally just trust you more. But outside of that core group, most LOs have a second tier of agents, the ones that send a deal here and there, but they also work with other loan officers. Those are the agents that you want to win over. And the way you do that is by consistently providing them value that they can't get anywhere else. And that is exactly what one of our clients, Arturo, did. He actually ended up inviting 2 agents to his office. He sat them down, pulled out his CRM on the screen, and instead of doing small talk, he clicked into a fresh list of leads and said, hey, let's call through some of these together. The agents picked up the phone, put in the work, called through these leads, and they actually ended up walking out with new opportunities in hand. And since then, those same agents now send all of their business to Arturo. It does not matter if the leads are perfect or they're not. The agents are not gonna walk away from a consistent free lead source. Everyone asks, oh, are they pre-qualified or XYZ? That does not matter because agents are starving, and the ones that actually wanna put in the work, these aren't gonna be maybe for the whales, right? The whales already get their consistent lead flow from their referral partners. These are to get those agents that actually wanna put in the work to actually work some leads. Even if only some of those leads turn into actual deals, they'll still show up because they're still getting a consistent opportunity from you. And the agents that you actually want to work with are going to be the ones that put in the work. And those agents are going to be the ones that actually value getting a consistent free lead source. And this is why my clients become irreplaceable to their agents. While most LOs are trying to find value on surface level touches, things like popping by an open house or showing face at an office, my clients are putting in actual opportunities on the table. And in a business where most agents are transactional, as you already know, the LO who consistently brings opportunity to the table is the one who actually wins. Realistically, every LO's business looks a little bit different. You might be a brand new loan officer who needs as many at-bats as possible, or you might be an LO who has an entire entire team underneath you. And there's two totally different types of campaigns that you can run with meta ads. You could do very high lead volume, or you could do very high lead quality, less volume. You're always going to decrease volume when you increase quality, but that's a given. So you kind of have to make the trade-off and really figure out what your goals are. And we could do that on a call where we break down kind of where you're at with your mortgage business, where you're trying to be, what your goals are, and then we adjust those campaigns to direct those specific goals. The truth is, nothing is stopping you from running both. You could have a high quality campaign feeding you closings right now, while the volume campaign also builds out your 6 to 12 month pipeline. And most importantly, having a steady flow of leads so that you can hand them to agents to strengthen your referral partnerships. But again, I like to set expectations. Social media leads are never going to be the same as agent referrals. The core of your business will always be agent relationships, and ads don't replace that. What they do is they feed it. It doesn't mean that social media leads are bad. You use it as a tool to strengthen everything else. Some will be early in the home buying process and some won't convert at all. And that's just how online leads work. And if you've worked with marketing agencies in the past, this is where I want to break this limiting belief. I hear it all the time. Meta ads just don't work, or agencies just send junk leads. The truth is they do work, but only if you have the right expectations. Online lead generation is about math and consistency. There's a cost per acquisition, there's a conversion rate, and that's simply just the cost of acquiring a customer through ads. Once you accept that reality, you can scale it. Instead of writing off social media leads as bad leads, you realize that it just takes X number of leads to get Y deals. You just increase the input once you know that conversion. And once you actually have that math in your favor, you can turn what feels like randomness into an actual system that compounds month after month. At the end of the day, everyone dreams of being that loan officer in your local area that is doing 30, 40, 50 million in loan volume, and they're not chasing deals anymore. They simply just have referrals coming in from such a strong agent network. But that doesn't just happen by accident. It happens because you put in the work now to build systems and stack agents and run campaigns. That is what feeds both the short-term closings and the long-term relationships. That's what this whole approach is designed to do. It's to get you to that short-term and long-term goal. So here's the big picture. Meta ads are not magic. They don't replace referrals, but ads are a tool. Now, here's the important part. I only work with one loan officer per market. Once your territory is locked in, it's off the table. That exclusivity is how I keep these systems effective, because you're not competing with another LO in your own backyard running the same exact campaign. So if you are a loan officer that wants to stop relying solely on agent referrals and actually take control of your pipeline, click the link in the top of the comments or the description, answer a couple quick questions, and book a call on my calendar. On this call, we'll see if it even makes sense for us to work together, and if it does, then I'll walk you through exactly what it is we do and what it would look like in your market. If you're actually serious about building your pipeline, closing more deals, and becoming the LO that agents actually want to work with, make sure that you lock in your territory before someone else does.